It's the same thing that Charlie Kirk did when he was talking about black men not being fathers.
So you're saying black men are getting married and then leaving their
Not
families?
getting married. That's the problem. What I'm saying is the data. I'm
Sir,
saying 2 out of 3 black men impregnate women and don't stay with them. What I'm saying is that if you have a black child, which obviously exists for some reason, right? Somebody did something to make that black baby.
Okay.
2 out of 3 times, the dad will not be around.
He said 66%, 2/3 of black men are having children and not staying with them and leaving the parent. Until that black man was like, well, what? Only 46% of black men have ever fathered a child. Well, we know that here. We know that in these. No, you didn't.
Sir, I'm telling you that 54% of black men, according to the CDC study 2023 National Health Statistics Reports, literally says that 54% don't even have children.
I know that's a complete different stat. Everyone knows what I'm saying and not what you're saying. That's
Okay.
a complete different. That's like a.
So
what I'm saying is that if you have a black child, which obviously exists for some reason, right? Somebody did something to make that black baby.
okay.
2 out of 3 times, the dad will not be around. Fact. Done.
All right.
Yeah, it's only out of. Thank you. The statistics are actually out of only those who have kids.
No, that's not how people would have heard it if you just left it out there. You see how that works? Yeah, they slick, man. This was on. Let's see this. This was actually on the website that Steven Crowder had under his page, where he was citing all the references. It says, those solutions include encouraging fatherhood in the home. They're talking about black folks here. Only 37% of black children are living in a home with their biological parents. Only 37%, I'm gonna read it again. 37% of black children are living in a home with their biological parents. 72% of black fathers aren't married to the mother of their children. And only 4.2% of black children grow up in areas with a poverty rate below 10%, and over half of black fathers present in the community. 4.2% black men, black fathers present in their community. Now, there's a lot that's wrong with this. There's a gang of stuff. So 72%, I've actually quoted that. That was a 2006-2008 report that says 72% of black men had their children at a wedlock. And that's possibly changed because there are actually more black men married. But yeah, 72% of black men had their children at a wedlock. But what they always forget, that does not mean that they leave their children after having those kids. So when society are people who don't like black men, they think if black men has 72% of their children out of wedlock, that means that they are absent fathers. And he got that 72%, of course, from Don Lemon on CNN when he said that.
72%. 72%. 72%. 72%.
72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers.
How does that correlate? But when you get on CNN and you say that, people always associate that with black men. That black men, 72% of us are leaving children. So that's why context matters, and they never understand that. And that's what led me to put this to explain to everybody what you're reading. I put Snapshot versus Lifetime. 44.6% shows the percentage of black children currently living in 2-parent households. And this is from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. This is the 44% is the one that's quoted the most by white people. In 2023, the majority of white children and Hispanic children lived in 2-parent homes, 76.3% and 67.4% respectively, compared with 44.6% of black children. Okay? Now, if you go to the Bowling Green State University, which has all of the information, 55 to 73% measures black fathers' co-residence patterns. How many black fathers that have lived with their children in their lifetime? Okay, that number is 55%. You add the 18%. There are some black men that have more than one children with other women. So they don't live with all of them, but they live with some. So that's how you get the 73%. According to the U.S. Census Current Population Survey, reported through OJJDP, in 2023, about 44.6% of Black children under the age of 18 were living with two parents, married or cohabitating. However, that's a snapshot, meaning what's true on the day of that particular survey. Snapshots don't capture full childhoods. When researchers at Bowling Green State University's National Center for Family and Research looked across childhood, they found that 55% of Black fathers reported having only co-residential children, meaning they are living with all of their kids. 18% reported both co-residential and non-co-residential children. 26% reported only non-co-residential children. To put that differently, the majority of Black children will spend part of their lives in a two-parent household or father-present household. So the truth is not most Black kids grow up without fathers. The truth is that most do experience father presence at some point of their lives. In the majority, 55% or more. Now let's talk about Black men. From the 2015 to 2019 CDC National Survey of Family Growth, only 46% of Black men ages 15 to 49 have ever fathered a child. That means 54% have no children at all. 69.3% of Black women having non-marital births does not mean that 69.3% of Black men fathered those children. The majority of Black men are not fathers. And of those who are, many, 55%, are co-residential and active in their children's lives. Now, that doesn't mean that 55% of those Black fathers are the only ones that are present in their children's household. Out of the additional 45%, they are active as well. The CDC highlights this constantly. If you see anybody repeating this lazy ass argument, you need to ask them questions. Where did you get that information from? And are you citing Black women's children at a wedlock rates? Because that doesn't mean that 69.3% of Black men are fathering those children. As I stated earlier, only 46% of Black men have ever fathered a child. So yes, that is the actual numbers, but people like to quote the 44.6% for 2023. That is a snapshot. But also, let's not forget, 44% stat you keep hearing is just a snapshot. It doesn't mean most Black kids never had both parents. When you include fathers who live with their children at some point, the number jumps to around 73%. This is why context matters. And then keep in mind, only 46% of Black men have ever fathered children, according to the CDC's National Survey of Family Growth, a rate that's nearly identical to white men at 43.9%. That means these percentages reflect only those who are fathers, not the total Black male population. So you guys need to be mindful of that and watch how they try and sneak that in. They'll say 66% of Black men have children and they don't live with them, or they don't take care of them. When they say Black men, that means all Black men. 66% of the 16.6 million Black men that are currently in the workforce are of age to have children, even lower than that. So when you say 66% of upwards of 15, 16 million, that's crazy. So that's how they try and sneak these things in so they can feed this to their white community and say, you see how Black men are doing, but we know the truth. And that's why I keep telling Black men, stop listening to this goddamn propaganda. And I'm specifically talking to the conservatives and the Republicans, man. I get it. It may feel good that you can finally and openly be Republican and conservative. But if you're in spaces where they're lying about Black men and you're not doing the research, you got to reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate your Blackness. Or you can just, go on my page and you can find the information for yourself. And I get it. Everybody trying to twist stuff to make it fit their narrative. But it's funny, they only do that when the numbers aren't in your favor and it's, focused on Black men. And this is a trickle-down effect to the women in our community. Because if you keep feeding these numbers out there, then again, that's gonna, Black women are still gonna go out there, keep saying Black men are less than, we make more money than them. We're more educated. We own more businesses and houses and stuff like that. That's how this stuff works. Propaganda is a trickle-down effect, okay? And we just got to be mindful of that. I get it, It's, you know, everybody, you free to support whoever you want to support, but just be mindful of the people in these spaces, man. I mean, it's cool, you know, but just be mindful. All right.